Videos of violent encounters with U.S. immigration officers regularly go viral. They're cited by President Trump's supporters as proof of him realizing a campaign promise. Opponents say the footage shows brutality and lawlessness committed by federal authorities. But what do they actually show? We looked into 3 incidents to find out what happened after the videos went public.
On June 21st, videos were posted to Instagram showing Border Patrol agents in Santa Ana, California, pursuing a man carrying a grass trimmer as he tries to escape. One of the officers draws a gun. A second video shows an agent repeatedly striking the same man in the head while he's pinned to the ground. After a brief struggle, they force him into their vehicle. That's where the video ends. Local politicians reacted to the video, linking it to President Donald Trump's aggressive deportation policy. Soon afterwards, he was identified as Narciso Barranco, an undocumented Mexican immigrant and father of 3 U.S. Marines. On the 4th of July, a national holiday, over 100 people attended a vigil for Barranco near the site where he was arrested. Barranco's case caught the attention of California Congressman Lou Correa and Senator Alex Padilla. They intervened to help the Barranco family locate him and secure his release on bond. And Senator Padilla invited Barranco's son, Alejandro, to testify at a congressional hearing on immigration enforcement.
Are you talking about?
Is there anything else that you would like to share about the cruelty with which your father was treated or which your family's gone through?
The way they treated him and the way they handled that situation was very unprofessional. It showed men who were not trained. It doesn't seem like it.
A spokesperson for the Department of Homeland Security commented on Barranco's arrest, saying the illegal alien ran, then turned and swung a weed whacker directly at an agent's face. The agents took appropriate action and followed their training to use the minimum amount of force necessary. On July 26, Narciso Barranco appeared in public alongside his family, as seen in this segment from NBC4 Los Angeles, thanking everyone who helped him. Barranco's lawyer told DW that he's still in the U.S. with his family. He continues to face deportation proceedings, and his next court date is in January. On July 15th, Iranian-born chiropractor Mahdi Khanbabazadeh was on his way to drop off his child at a preschool in Oregon when he was pulled over to the side of the road by ICE agents.
Why? What's going on?
Go ahead and roll your window all the way down.
I have a baby in the car.
That's okay. That's okay.
Yeah.
Go ahead, roll your with the baby. Just roll your window all the way down.
In this next shot of the video provided by his family, it appears he's driven to the school accompanied by police.
Yeah. Mommy's coming now. Okay?
After a gap in the video here, Khanbabazadeh is seen alone in the car with his windows rolled up. At this point, the ICE officers start to break into the car.
Hell, hold on. I'm getting out. I'm getting out.
Well, you should have done it already. I told you 3 times. I'm looking at your seatbelt. Step out of the car.
You still understand.
Step out of the car.
That's where the video ends. Here's what's happened since then. 3 staff members and 1 parent of a child at the preschool decided to sue. They joined a federal lawsuit filed earlier this year by a Latino union against the Trump administration, calling for a ban on immigration enforcement in churches, hospitals, and schools. Plaintiff Caroline Medeiros says she lives with the fear that if ICE shows up again, they will again use excessive force or employ firearms, and a stray bullet could injure or kill a child. Khanbabazadeh was taken into custody and released about 10 days later on bond. He had immigrated legally to the U.S. as a student, according to U.S. immigration records. He's married to a U.S. citizen, and his family says he was awaiting a green card when he was arrested. On September 25th, ICE agents intercepted an Ecuadorian asylum seeker at an immigration court in New York City, forcefully separating him from his wife and children before taking him away. A second video shows the wife, Monica Moreta Galarza, pleading with that same supervisor. The incident caught the attention of New York City official Brad Lander, who, along with Congressman Dan Goldman, wrote a letter to the U.S. Attorney General requesting an investigation into the ICE officer's conduct, which was granted. Moreta Galarza told CBS News New York she was left in a state of shock by the incident, but still has hope that her family will be reunited. Tricia McLaughlin of the Department of Homeland Security said the officer's conduct in this video is unacceptable and beneath the men and women of ICE, and said that he had been relieved of duties pending an investigation. It was a rare rebuke of the aggressive tactics immigration officers are employing across the U.S. as they carry out President Trump's deportation agenda. But on September 29th, just 3 days after the ICE supervisor was suspended, CBS News reported that he had already returned to his duties.
Well, earlier, I spoke with Jeanette Zanipatin. She is an immigration lawyer and director of policy and advocacy at the Coalition for Humane Immigrant Rights of Los Angeles. I asked her if she thinks ICE agents are just following the law, as the Trump administration says.
We essentially know that the Trump administration is trying to conduct immigration enforcement. However, they are definitely using tactics that are unlawful and illegal and violate the Constitution. In many instances, for example, they do not have warrants, and when someone states that they refuse to talk to them or they want to have a lawyer present, they're just refusing those requests to remain silent, which individuals have a right to remain silent and not offer any information. And then in cases where people have green cards or work permits or U.S. citizens, ICE agents are arresting first and asking questions later and just really disregarding individual pleas for folks to not be arrested or detained.
Jeanette, if you could clarify for our viewers, if you are in the United States and if you are not in the country legally, do you have access to the rights afforded American citizens by the Constitution? I mean, I guess a lot of people are saying, if I am there illegally, do I still have the rights that an American citizen would have?
You do. So the U.S. Constitution applies to everybody who is on U.S. soil. And so folks who are undocumented have rights under the Constitution. Congress does have the right to limit those rights. And in certain instances, they have. And in terms of like immigration proceedings and things of that nature. But the basic tenets of the Constitution apply across the board to anybody who's on U.S. soil.
I want to ask you about ICE and its funding. It's the largest federally funded law enforcement agency now. How is that boost in money, how is it playing out in the everyday operations at ICE?
Well, we haven't seen the money sort of roll out on the ground, but we have seen the federal administration prepping, right, in order to expend this money. So right now they're in a big hiring moment where they're trying to hire as many agents as possible. We are seeing the expansion of detention centers throughout the country being potentially built and or renovating, existing detention centers and transferring those duties for immigration detention. And so those are the things that we are seeing. The one thing that we're also seeing is that they have been firing many immigration judges in places like San Francisco and other jurisdictions, either because they believe these judges are not going to uphold the Trump agenda, which is to deport as many individuals as possible without regard to their legal rights and without regards to their constitutional rights to due process.
What about reports that some migrants have been forced to accept deportation or risk being charged with a crime? Have you come across this?
Well, what we've seen is in the detention process, when folks are being either detained or in deportation proceedings, right, the federal government always tries to get individuals to sign what we call a voluntary departure order, which is I voluntarily agree to be deported, right? And so in many instances, the conditions in the detention centers are so inhumane that people just don't have, individuals just don't have the capacity to withstand the cruel and inhumane conditions that exist within the detention centers. So many people are forced to sign because the conditions are just so terrible.
What's happening in these detention centers?
Well, in many detention centers, they're overcrowded, right? Because I don't think this administration was ready to fully implement mass deportation enforcement programs. And so many detention centers are actually overcrowded and just don't have the capacity to to be able to house the individuals that are currently being housed. So there are issues around lack of food. The quality of the food is just really terrible. In many instances, when someone arrives at a detention center, it takes days for individuals to get a change of clothes, to be able to bathe. Medical care in these detention centers are just across the board terrible. We've already seen several deaths in detention centers for individuals who needed medical care. We had, I believe, 2 recent deaths here in California within the last 6 weeks or so. And so the conditions inside are just really bad. And right now, we're also seeing some people that are being now released because they're now eligible for what's called a Rodriguez bond. After 6 months, you're eligible for a Rodriguez bond hearing. And so individuals who are now exiting some of these detention centers are just talking about the horrific conditions that exist inside these centers. And so we're really concerned just about what more money is going to mean for more people that are going to be detained in centers that are just inadequate and unfit to hold individuals.
Jeanette, unfortunately, we are out of time, but we certainly do appreciate you taking the time to talk with us and to share your insights. Thank you.